Hi everyone, I've got a book to read to you today called The Snow Angel. This is by Beck, illustrated by Brandon Dorman. So just taking a look at the cover in the title, The Snow Angel, what do you think this book might be about? Have you guys ever made a snow angel before in the snow? And maybe think about what other things you like to do in the snow. Maybe you like to build a snowman, throw snowballs. I'm hoping it does snow tomorrow night, but we'll have to see. I'm hoping it snows at another point too. I love snow. I don't know about you guys, but I love snow. So this book is called The Snow Angel. All right. Get right into it. The macaroni and cheese was never very good when Dad made it. But with Mom picking up a job at the grocery store at night, Dad's mac and cheese was becoming a regular occurrence. Don't you guys love the pictures? I think the illustrator did such a good job. They look so real. And that mac and cheese looks good, even though she's saying it's not as good when Dad makes it. Looks good to me though. Can't we have something else tonight? Ryan asked, but his father wasn't paying any attention. His eyes were glued to the old television sitting in the living room. The news was on, and the announcer was speaking in a very serious tone. And that means millions of Americans cannot find jobs. Meanwhile, in the Middle East, the war continues for its 9th straight year. Dad, Ryan yelled, trying to get his attention. Lily and I are tired of macaroni and cheese. Can't we have something else? No, we can't, his father replied. Like I told you last night and the night before, I don't want to hear any more questions about dinner. Now eat fast and go get ready for bed. I'm late for work and Grandma will be here soon. Grandma, again. Ryan and Lily loved their grandma, but enough was enough. She'd been over the last 5 nights in a row to watch them. Maybe you guys can make some connections to this story already. Maybe you spend some time with grandparents. Sometimes I know that they kind of babysit or watch over when parents are gone, or maybe you live with them. Why? Lily whined. We don't want Grandma to come over again. We don't want this macaroni and cheese again. And we don't want you and Mom to leave again. Why can't you just stay home with us like you used to? Lily, I'm sorry, but we can't do that. He put his dish into the sink as they walked out of the room dejected. Grandma listened quietly to the whole conversation from the living room. No one knew she was there. Oh no. So Grandma was listening to that, and here's the grandma, she's listening. Why do you guys think that the father makes mac and cheese every night and then he's got to leave every night? He can't stay home, right? Why can't your parents stay home all day? Because they have to work, right? And I don't think they really realize that. A few minutes later, Lily and Ryan came back downstairs in their pajamas. Dad had already left, and Grandma was sitting alone on the couch. Kids, she said, come sit with Grandma. I want to tell you a story. Lily and Ryan reluctantly walked to the couch and sat on either side of their grandmother. she began. Once upon a time, there was a little girl. All right, so Grandma's about to tell us a story. As if on cue, the children chimed in. Was she a princess? Did she live in a castle? Was she eaten by a dragon? Patience, children, patience, Grandma said. This is not a fairy tale. In fact, it's much, much better because it's real. She's about to tell them a real story. Do your grandparents or parents ever read you a story or tell you a real story? So here's the story. This little girl happened to live during a time when things in America were very difficult. Soldiers were fighting in other countries, jobs were hard to find, and most nights dinner was whatever vegetables she could find in the garden. The girl's mother worked hard all day and night to make uniforms for the army, and her father was one of the brave soldiers who went over to Europe to protect us. They were both gone a lot, and the little girl missed them very much. This is kind of going back in time here. What an interesting hairstyle that they had back then. And clothes, everything was kind of different. One day, the girl's father came home for a short break. The two of them played together every day from morning to night. On the day her daddy had to go back to Europe, it started to snow for the first time all winter. He took the little girl outside and showed her how to make snow angels on the front lawn. Pretty picture. There they are, making snow angels, the girl and her dad. The father explained to his daughter that snow angels are magical because if you make one for someone you love, it stores all that love right in their heart. The angels, he told her, would always be with her, even when he couldn't be. And he was right. Even after he went back to the war, the little girl never felt alone again. His snow angel was always there with her. When the story was done, Lily's face slowly began to brighten. Grandma, she asked, were you the little girl in that story? Was it your daddy who showed you how to make snow angels? Yes, it was me, Grandma replied, and I never forgot that day. Grandma continued, I know you miss your parents when they're at work, and I know that you don't want to eat the same thing for dinner every night but it's all because your mom and dad love you so much and want to protect you. Now that we all know about the magic of snow angels, we can show your parents that you love and remember them even when they're working so hard. Sometimes they work so hard that they forget about the magic of snow angels, and that's where you two can help. But Grandma, Ryan replied, there's no snow. Grandma just smiled and said, I think I have an idea. It's almost finished. The next morning, Lily and Ryan woke up early and met downstairs. 20 minutes later, they walked into their parents' bedroom with 2 plates. We made you breakfast in bed, Lily said proudly. Mom and Dad were stunned. They had never had breakfast in bed before, especially not macaroni and cheese. We couldn't use the stove, Ryan said, so we just skipped that part of the instructions. Dad took a big spoonful of the crunchy macaroni and smiled. It's the best mac and cheese I've ever had. When breakfast was done, Mom and Dad followed the kids downstairs. At the bottom, they stopped suddenly and gasped. Hundreds of paper snow angels had been strung together and hung from the ceiling. It was a virtual winter wonderland. Grandma said that snow angels are magic, Lily said softly, and we wanted to give some of that magic to you. Mom and Dad looked on in wonder at the gift they'd been given. Mom tried to speak, but her eyes began to water. Thank you so much. Who do you know that needs some magic? Make them a snow angel and share your love. All right, so sometimes stories have lessons. What is maybe a lesson? What is something that this book maybe taught you? Can you think of anything? In the book, the children at first were kind of complaining, right? They were kind of like, we don't want the same thing for dinner every day. We don't want to spend time with Grandma again, right? But as Grandma shared her story, they began to realize that they really appreciate parents going to work in order to feed them, right? We go to work in order to make money so that we can provide for our children and we can feed you and take care of you and love you, and so that's what parents do, right? So they became really thankful at the end of the story, like really thankful. Even though they have mac and cheese every day, that's okay, you know? Even though the father goes out to work at night, that's okay. It's all because they love their children and they're doing the best that they can. And so that's kind of the lesson of the story. Just being thankful for what we have. And going into next year, I think that's a good resolution as well. And I know it was a long story, but it's one of my favorite books, honestly. So I hope it snows so that you guys can make snow angels, and I will see you soon. Thank you.